Hello, my name's Owen and welcome to the JOL Wedding Podcast. Join myself and my co-host Caroline as we bring you all the inspiration and advice you need whilst planning your wedding. Hello everybody, how are we all doing? Welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today we talk about something I don't know anything about, so we're going to need a specialist on to help us, well, me anyway, go through all this.
I don't know a great deal.
You know a bit more than me. We've got Natalie on, who is a makeup artist. Hi, how you doing? You okay?
Good, thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
No, it's well.
Very
welcome
thank you for
to
coming.
come, and we know you so well now, so it's just so easy having a chat with you because we work so well together and so many weddings as well and shoots and things like that. So it was quite funny that actually we did a shoot a few years back, didn't we?
Yeah,
and do you remember that we went up to Longmynd
with the horses,
with all the horses and everything like that, with picnics and all sorts.
Yeah.
And the couple that the bride that we did the style shoot for actually got married this morning, and so that was like it's like a fate type of thing that you've come in and so it was nice that they got married.
Yeah.
Well,
congratulations then.
Danny and Alex. So
big shout out to them getting married today.
But they live in New Zealand
on the day of recording. Yeah, they live in New Zealand. So if they end up listening to this, hi and congratulations finally. But yeah, I mean, wedding makeup. Obviously, I only really see makeup artists on the day. You guys kind of tend to. Stop it.
And we've got the dogs playing. Gentlemen, boys.
There we go.
Will you quit? Dennis, can I have you? Come on up.
Yeah, our famous two little mascots are a little bit hyped up this morning. We're trying to hide all their toys. But anyways, as I was saying, with wedding makeup, I only really see makeup artists obviously just before the bride gets married and things like that. And some makeup artists end up staying a little bit later for top-ups and things like that, which we don't see it often. No,
we don't.
No.
But it's just, obviously we did the podcast today just because we want brides to think about, especially with their makeup and skincare.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure, brides want to look absolutely flawless on the day and be the best, I always say the best version of themselves, because there's so many makeup artists that we've worked with and you see, and some, you do the most amazing natural makeup ever.
Oh,
that you. It is just, you literally are, it's just flawless. We have some, obviously, makeup artists, they're a bit more, how can I say, heavy with the makeup as well, so you can definitely tell she's got a few layers of foundation and everything else on. So what do brides look for now? Obviously natural makeup is something me personally would have a natural. Is that more what people are going for now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you still, like when a bride says to me, I want to look natural, I want to but look flawless. And
Nat's not being attacked by Henry.
Henry, can you leave Nat alone?
Right, this episode is not about you dogs. Here we go.
I think Natalie's got a friend. Come on, Henry, come on.
I think they're inspecting them.
That's it. Good boy.
You like me. They're inspecting
Lie
my
down.
makeup.
That's it. Good boy.
There we go. Good boy.
Anyway, you were saying.
Yes. So when they want natural makeup, I do have to say to them, look, you know, it's natural makeup, I suppose you think of time-wise of being, it'll just take 10 minutes. But actually, it can take longer because it's about creating that flawless base, making sure it's all blended and all it sinks into the skin. So I say actually, you know, you're looking at about an hour and a half, you know, for that process to still look natural.
Yes.
Because what I need and want is that when you're doing the photography, that it looks flawless on camera.
Yes, definitely.
But it's also in
Dennis, lay down.
There's
That's
also
Good
boy.
that there's also enough makeup on there so that, you know, on the photographs it shows through, and also that it gives you like that long lasting all the way through to the evening. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with us as well, we use quite a lot of flash in our work.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can totally tell on camera the makeup.
Yeah.
That sometimes it's really shiny, things like that as well. So
it's about getting that balance of, you don't want it to be too dewy, you don't want it to look too shiny.
Yeah.
But you want to have that mixture of both. Then like around your T-zones, depends what that bride's skin type's like as well, to the type of foundation that's used as well. But definitely brides are more wanting that like natural, to still feel like themselves as well. So but then when we've done a shoot before with like Asian brides, for example, they do want a heavier coverage. So again, it's just working with that bride in terms of what they like, looking at what they wear for makeup on a day-to-day basis, or even on a night out as well, so I can kind of get to grips with like what they like,
what look they want to go for. I think it's really important because when you're looking at things like soft glamour, obviously you want it to make it look like, you know, nice and fresh throughout the day, so obviously you want to be that bridal, but then in the evening you can glam it up a little bit and just have maybe more of a red lipstick and things like that as well. Do you find some people want something a little bit different for the evening?
So
we have a blooper section of dog shenanigans.
I think we're going to have to. Normally they are just absolutely
golden,
flat out, and
showing off.
Now,
So people who are listening on kind of Spotify or kind of iCloud, check out the video on YouTube.
Yeah, we've got two cockapoos that are just now wrestling over something that's bright purple.
So introducing Henry and Dennis.
So when do you typically get booked up? Because obviously photographers, anything for us, 18 months, 2 years in advance. When do you typically get people start booking makeup artists?
Ideally, you'd want to book your makeup artist at least 12 months in advance.
Okay.
And obviously that means then that you can have your trial. Obviously, some people don't. Maybe they've got married or they want to get married quite quickly, and then they will inquire, and maybe it's like 3 or 4 months prior to that wedding. But then you're taking that risk of your makeup artist might not be available. So the sooner you get them booked, the higher, you know, chance that you're going to actually have the makeup artist that you actually want for your wedding day too.
I think that's everything. Every supplier, I think every guest we have on the podcast, they're saying the earlier you can book, the better. Like you say, the best ones will get booked up very, very quickly.
That's why I think couples are looking to kind of extend their period of planning, going for quite a later date, say 25, maybe pushing to 26, because they want everybody they want.
24,
all the supplies they want.
Now. This is it.
They want all the supplies they want.
But then if you've got, like, say, some brides have the finances that go, actually, I don't want to wait 24 months plus. I want to get married in the next 12 months. But like you say, then you do run the risk.
You're not really going to get the chance of everybody that you specifically want. But there are so many great people out there that you can get anyway. So
Yeah. And I think a makeup artist is worth their salt, their weight in gold, honestly. We had a bridesmaid actually the other week, and it wasn't, this is what I call a winter wedding. Obviously it was February. And makeup artist done all the makeup, left, and they were getting ready, and she was like, oh, my nose is really shiny now, it's just worn off, or she's starting to sweat a bit, and now it's come through. So what time do you sort of tend to leave? Do you sort of wait until they start to, you know, final touches at the end?
So I will stay with the bride up until that point that they are ready to go and walk down the aisle, or to go and get in that car to then travel to the venue. Because I think for me personally, it's not just you do the makeup and then you just leave, because there's more to it than that. Obviously it's an early morning start, you've got your routines or the schedules for everybody to come in their order for the makeup, which I guess we can talk about in terms of where we reckon the bride should go for having their makeup on the day. But in terms of, you know, some brides or some makeup artists will then just do the bride's makeup, pack their case, off they go. So whereas I will stay right until the last moment, because if you're going to do a reveal to the bridal party or to, you know, to dad, to mum, etc., then actually you are going to expect some tears, and you do want to be there to obviously just make sure final touch-ups of the lipstick, you know, if she has cried. Obviously, I use waterproof mascara, you know, tried and tested. If you cry, it's not going to go. Yeah. It's not going to run. But it's just good to just be on hand just for those final moments. Yeah. Because it's the bride's most important day of their lives. So
and I think, like I say, it is a very, very early start for you guys.
Yeah.
So we tend to typically rock up anything between 9-10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You are there at silly o'clock in the morning, isn't it? Especially if you've got bride and bridesmaids.
Yeah, depends what time the ceremony is as well. So if it's a 12 o'clock ceremony, for example, everybody in the bridal party needs to be ready for 11. Mm-hmm. So then that accounts for if the registrar or go into the venue, etc. So if there's like 5 in that party that all need makeup, you're probably looking at like 5 a.m, 5:30 that I arrive, and then we start with the time.
Imagine getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't do it.
You've got to think as well that this is their art. This is what they do. So if they rock up to a wedding and they look awful themselves, that's not going to fill the bride and the bridesmaids with much hope. So they have to look.
Well, you've seen me. Sometimes I do just rock up, hair on my head, bit of skincare, SPF, good to go. Because I'm just like, sometimes it's an early start, depending on the venue and things like that.
I'd be turning off in my pajamas at that point if I was to get up that early to do that.
So I think you made a really good point that obviously a typical wedding could be bride, bridesmaids, mother of the bride, maybe mother of the groom.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah. So we had one wedding. I remember one of the bridesmaids phoned up and said, "Where are you?" This is literally about 8 o'clock in the morning. "Where are you?" And I've gone, "Well, we're just leaving the house now. I'll be with you probably about half an hour-ish." Yeah. She said, "You should be here now. Bride is in makeup." And I've gone, "Okay, that's fine." And she's like, No, you need to be here. You need to be photographing it." And I've gone, "It's fine, because what we can do is when we arrive, I'm sure bride will need touching up. We can stage a few things. Yeah. Honestly, don't worry about it." But yeah, where would you put a bride? So say you've got 3 bridesmaids. Yeah. Bride, mother of the bride. Yeah. Where would you say?
So for the bride, I would always do her second to last. Yeah. So I've had it before where brides have been like, "I want to go last, I am going last," and ultimately I will listen to the bride. Yeah. It's that I'm providing her a service, so all I can do is just give her my professional opinion and say, actually, have you thought about if you go last? Which I'll give an example. I had a bride who went last. She was adamant. I talked her through some of the scenarios that might happen. So I said, if you are last, you know, it's like the golden hour, the crazy hour, because obviously you might have your wedding coordinator coming in, your photographer, your videographer are going to want your stage shots, you're going to want maybe your bridal party all together, and your bride is still sat in that chair having her makeup done. So if she's getting questions asked or bridesmaids are getting into their dresses, I need my bride to be calm, relaxed, to enjoy the process.
Yeah, that's only going to stress her out more, isn't it?
Yeah, so. Exactly. So, and then the wedding coordinator comes in, we just want to run through the table plans or this and that, and I totally get that. And obviously, you know, I have to stop because she's talking. I can work around the face, obviously, but yeah, and then that can just make the bride become a bit more anxious because she's like, "Oh, I've got half an hour, and then I need to be in my dress." Yeah. And then you're just like clock watching, working, and last thing I want to do is rush, because you can't.
Yeah. No, you can't rush the process.
You can't rush the process. There's no shortcuts when it comes to makeup. There isn't. So yeah. So on reflection with that bride afterwards, she said, "I wish I'd listened to you, because you were right, because everything that you gave me that advice actually happened." And sometimes you may never get those interruptions, but you can't. You can't
foresee it.
No, you just can't.
But that is a good thing that obviously for our listeners now, that last hour, we always arrive on site and we say to my, "How you feeling?" They go, "Oh my God, I'm fine. I'm so fine. I'm so chilled."
Yeah. It's always chilled when you walk into it.
Yeah, always chilled. Yeah. It's not, like you say, to the last hour, then, like you say, it's panic. Bridesmaids are getting into their clothes.
Yeah.
You've got mother of the bride. You've got like the wedding coordinator. You've got people phoning down from reception. Hi, we've got the buttonholes. Who needs a buttonhole?
Yeah.
You know. Oh well.
You might have to dress Litlins as well. I mean,
Yeah.
Litlins running around.
Bridesmaids,
My
little
God.
flower girls.
Yeah.
Love kids at weddings, but at that point when the bride is trying to do stuff and then the bridesmaids are kind of faffing around as well.
Yeah,
you
and
need
even
to-
packing up
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Especially if they're in a venue and they're maybe in the getting ready room where all their luggage and everything has to get moved by the venue to another room.
Yeah.
And they're going, right, okay, where's my stuff? Oh, I'll put my stuff here. And that last hour just goes so quick.
Yeah, really quickly.
And like you say, if the bride is calm and she's had her makeup done, like you say, you're just doing the last bridesmaids or mother of the bride or whoever you want to do last. Is it normally bridesmaid?
It depends who's in the booking. So when I get the request come through, I obviously always ask how many is in your bridal booking, how many are going to require makeup, and generally it's, you know, a bride will say it's 3 bridesmaids, mother of the bride, mother of the groom, and then the bride. So when I do the time schedule, so I tend to overestimate with my time because I prefer to give more time rather than to be chasing like my tail, and then if I catch up or if I'm slightly over, I even out, and then I do obviously finish on time or if not slightly before. So that tends to work. So I'm about, for bridesmaids it's about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, but I give an hour. And then again, even with mother of the brides, mother of the grooms, you get so many that are quite nervous about having their makeup done, and then when they've seen a bridesmaid, they're like, oh, okay. They're like, you know, you look like yourself, but just like an enhanced version. And they're like, oh, can, you know, and then they want a little bit more, or they'll have their eyelashes done. So actually, mother of the bride, mother of the groom can still take just as long. Yeah. Just because they're the mother of the bride doesn't mean they're going to be any quicker. Because, you know, they might want less. Actually, when they feel confident and I talk them through it, because I'll get them to check their foundation, get them to check like how much is on their eyes, make sure they still feel like themselves. So like I say, I either put a bridesmaid or a mother of the bride after the bride.
See, for us, I'd always love to have a bridesmaid at last, because for us, especially when we got brides that go, actually, I want a first look for bridesmaids. I got a first look with Dad. I gotta go, who's getting me a dress? Mum's getting me in the dress. Right, okay then. Mum needs to get done a little bit earlier. So then she's got time, because most time a bridesmaid's dress is very simple to put on. It's not going to be where Mum's got, you know, she's got tights or stockings and a dress, a jacket, a hat, a fascinator. A bridesmaid's just got a dress in theory. So for us, if we had a mother of the bride all done and the bride's finished, we can go, right, okay, you can go and get your dress on now. Mum's on hand then to get her in the dress. We can get the shots that she wants. And I think this is the main thing for us, is bride goes, I want this shot, this shot, this shot, this shot. And I've gone, to get those shots, you need to be in your dress by this, which means then, you know, the timings then, obviously, like you say, if a bride is in last, it's going to be so hard, especially for us, to get all of those. Then we've got the registrars coming and say, well, we need a word with them and everything like that, or they have to go to the church, so they don't want to leave that a little bit later, just because obviously traffic and everything like that. I want to arrive on time. So it is, especially brides, when you're thinking about of your day, your timings of your day. Make sure, like you say, you say about an hour for each person. Yeah,
it depends. So key things as well is a lot of the venues now, the big venues that are new, you can't actually get into the bridal prep room until 10 o'clock.
Yes.
So then you have to think about, right, are they staying overnight in the actual venue? Because obviously if they are, then they're going to have to pack up, and then we're going to have to then transfer and then move to the bridal prep room. Or if there's nowhere to stay the night before, they could be at the in-laws' house getting ready, and that might be 10-15 minute drive. So you then have to think about the timings for that, because it's like twice I've got to pack up, set up, move, then transition again, depending on obviously, you know, how many's in that bridal party. So like I say, I'd always give an hour per person. The bride, between an hour 15, hour and a half, just because obviously, you know, I obviously spend a lot more time with the bride, and I know exactly like the steps, the processes that we're going to go through.
Yeah.
Maybe just recap over the trial and just say, is there anything more, anything less that you would like as well with that. So I think timing is really, really key with that. And like we say, some artists do an after ceremony service, and obviously that's generally an additional cost. So most makeup artists will stay with the bride until they're ready to leave. Some don't, some do, but my values are I stay right until the end, unless the venue closes the car park. I've had that before. And they've said, so I do, if I know it's kind of a small venue, I will say, do you close the gates? Because some of them do if it's an outside ceremony.
Oh, okay then.
So obviously I have to factor that in, because I could be stuck like for quite some time whilst the ceremony's going on if I'm not doing a touch-up service after. But generally speaking, it's fine, because obviously it's away from the entrance. So that's just things to consider too as well. Because
I think, well, we're based in Shropshire. We've got about 5 venues around here. They're all owned by the same company. And they do, the main function is weddings. So they do weddings 24/7, basically.
It's literally
24/7. That's every day.
Well, literally one in, next day one out, even midweek weddings.
I think one venue had 320 weddings there last year. So they are very restricted. So basically, bride can't arrive on site till 10:30. And then they'll go into obviously the bridal getting ready room, what we call it. So like you say, if brides have to get half ready off site somewhere and then travel again, you have to factor that in. So that could be really quite restricted.
I suppose as well, I always say to my brides, if, you know, it depends what time your ceremony is. If you're a 2:00 ceremony, that's fine. But if you're a 12:00 ceremony and you're only allowed in there from 10:00, they have to consider what's going to happen earlier, especially if you've got 5 or 6 that are going to need makeup. So then I can easily do 5 or 6 in a bridal party on my own. But when it starts to become numbers past that, you're then going to have to look at maybe getting your timings, and also getting a second makeup artist or an assistant as well. So the fact is, you know, I personally don't have an assistant, because my work's my work. And if I had another makeup artist and we tried to create the same look, it would be similar, but you would tell
it wouldn't be the same.
It's not the same.
No.
So obviously I always say to my brides, if you want a second makeup artist, you'll need to go and source that second makeup artist yourself, or I can give recommendations as well, especially if because of the time, or if they're not happy with having a 6:00 start in the morning. So if they want it like an 8:00 start and their ceremony's at 12, they need to be done by 11. You're going to have 2 makeup artists to really hit.
And then finding 2 that complement each other as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So like you say, we were talking off camera before, we're having a cup of tea. You're very interested in just like the bride only. So I remember going back a few years, we had a bride and her auntie was a makeup artist, and she had like the proper airbrushing and everything like that. I've never seen makeup. It was absolutely amazing. But she only did her because the bride she had a specific look. That's what she wanted. So she hired obviously her aunt, who was a professional makeup artist, and then she had another makeup artist to do the bridesmaids. So again, trying to find 2 makeup artists that again are really good at doing natural makeup for something they want, so they complement each other. So it's like with us as photographers and videographers, we complement each other. When in styles, you can have one photographer having one style and a videographer having a completely different style. But when you look and put those 2 products together, because that's what you're going to watch in years to come, they don't complement each other. So again, it's thinking about that, isn't it? So,
definitely. And I guess it's about, for the bride, looking, and it's not just looking on Pinterest for like makeup ideas. It is about, you know, looking about the artists that are maybe within your local area, or not necessarily going off the suppliers' recommendations as well, that obviously go through the venue, just to because again, their style might not be what you want, like, just because that's been recommended.
Yeah.
So I do always think, you know, your social medias, that's massive. Again, I'm a little bit, you know, I'm not the best at keeping up to date with my social medias. It's a job in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just like updating, creating reels. Like in the mornings of weddings, I'm that busy. I'm like, oh, I'll take a before photo. And then before you know it, I forgot to take the after photo, or I start a reel and then I forget. Because obviously it's so busy. But I would just always say to my brides, check the Instagrams, look at the videos, look at, you know, if they've got a website, how the makeup looks on the photographs. My only concern is that because there's so many makeup artists out there with different styles, is the editing that goes into that. I've seen quite a few photos where they've changed a bit of the face shape, or, you know, they've put a filter on top of the makeup, even through the videos. So I'm always a little bit like, look at the work, look at the consistency, scroll through it.
Talk to your suppliers. Like I say, we can recommend so many different makeup artists.
Oh, we've worked with so many amazing ones, honestly, around here. There's so many.
They are. But with us, if we love to obviously send you photos and things like that, so if you put them on social media, you will see an actual real bride. Yeah. And I think that is the key. Yeah. You want to see an actual real bride.
Yeah, not a model.
Not a model.
No.
You know, there's we know makeup artists, not obviously locally, but nationally, that they will put photos up of what they class real brides. Yeah. They're not.
No.
They are just complete models. Like you say, have they had a slight filter on those photos on social media as well?
Yeah.
It's keeping it realistic. I mean, you want to see someone that you can kind of see yourself in their shoes.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, can I see myself like that?
Yeah.
If I'm me,
we could try.
You can give it a go. I don't think you'll be able to, but yeah, you want to see yourself, you know, being that way.
We all have, like, I think my biggest thing is that we all have texture on our skin. We all have imperfections on our skin. Nobody has this flawless blank canvas, you know, and we have wrinkles, we have lines, we have laughter lines.
Tell me about it. I can see myself in the camera. It's just not,
And, you know, and you want to capture that, because makeup is you, and it will move with your face and your expressions, and you want that to be seen. It's not just to get that one photo or to get that angle, which if you're a model, you can get into those positions and know how to adjust yourself easily. I'm all about, I want my real brides, and I want to think, because that's who I do every day. Is the everyday.
And again, thinking
bride.
Obviously, you know, you can't see the setup here behind with all the cameras. We've got lights, we've got natural light here, just to fill in obviously some of the dark areas, especially for me. But natural light is key for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, we have so many venues that are very dark.
Yeah.
No natural lights. You working off ambient light from you know, this lovely mirrors with all the lights around. Actually, it gives, for us as photographers and videographers, a false light. For you as a makeup artist, that must be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, it is. Like, the ideal dream is to have your bride sat in front of a big open window or patio doors and have that natural light coming in whilst you're doing the makeup, because of when you like colour matching, foundation, it's perfect, and you get to see what that looks like in the daylight. Because the lighting, as you say, can just give, it can. So, but obviously you'd have seen me on mornings where we've had limited light. I've got my lights, I've got my ring lights, but where I can, I'm like, right, let's go and stand in the doorway where there's more natural lighting, so I'll get to see them and see if I need to add a bit more. So I will work with what I've got. But yeah, and I was going to say, if somebody's getting married at home or doing their bridal prep at home, for me, and to make everything run smoothly in the morning, is to have your hair and makeup artists in different rooms if possible. Only because of the hairspray. Being too close together.
Things like this we don't even think about.
Yeah, just like if you want, I want my bride to be as relaxed as possible, or even my bridesmaids, because there are some anxious, nervous bridesmaids who've never had their makeup done
it's
before.
not an everyday occurrence, is it?
No.
I mean, unless you're an actor or
Yeah, exactly. And it's quite an intimate, close service, because I'm next to somebody, like, with the face, everything like that. So they need to be relaxed. But I find that on a warm day, when it's the summer, if you're next to your hairdresser who's maybe doing the blow dry, using the curlers,
hot air,
it gets so warm as well. And the last thing I need is my bridesmaid being really hot and obviously makeup.
Bit more red.
Yeah, exactly. So a key thing, if somebody has the space or the venue, is just to make sure that we're just
it's a bit more distance.
Between us, because the last thing we need is the bride having hairspray like sprayed on her face and things like that whilst we're in the process of doing the makeup. But I'm adaptable, will work anywhere. I'm quite messy, but as long as I can have a little corner and have that space, that's fine. But where possible, natural lighting is just the key thing.
Leading up to the day then, is there anything, obviously you have trials?
Yeah.
So when would you roughly do that?
So trials, I always recommend between 8 to 10 weeks prior to the wedding. And why so close is because skin changes. If you had a trial, and say if you're getting married in the summer and we did your trial in the winter, your skin might be a bit more dehydrated in the winter, might need to use a different type of foundation. Also, it's not giving me a realistic expectation or look of what your skin will be like in 6 to 8 weeks time. So that's when I recommend to have a trial. I will never do a bride or a wedding day without bride having had a trial, because if I have to step in for short notice, that's completely different. But I've had brides before that have said, "Oh, can I have my makeup done?" And you just turn up on the day. There's just no way. Because
I think you need to be happy with, if you do go for a trial, same as hair, isn't it?
Yeah.
My niece is getting married in the summer and she's having her hair done, and she's had her trial and she's gone, it's not what I envisioned. I was expecting this, and actually it didn't look quite right. So you had that time, then she goes, actually I can think about maybe a different style, or how can I maybe add in different and more layers into, or more different or hair extensions or something like that. But like for you as well, having that confidence that a bride can see you before, you can talk in length, can't you, about what type of skin you've got, what is there any oily or dry spots or something like that. Talk about your everyday routine. So then you've got a good idea from that trial. Then you obviously do the makeup, and then she can change everything. Maybe do for different lips and different eyes and things like that.
I mean, the trial, I always schedule in 3 hours.
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily last that long. It can be anywhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours, etc. But I schedule that time because you're not in a rush.
No.
I need to know what your colour scheme is, what your dress looks like, how maybe having your hair, then about looking at images of makeup that you like, different looks that you like. So it's just really getting to know what my bride's vision is, and then knowing about her skin. Does she have a skincare routine? Because it's a key thing is that if a bride doesn't use products and they're thinking about maybe starting a skincare routine, then obviously that's something that's important to have, because your makeup is only as good as the base that it has and the longevity of the makeup as well. So for any bride thinking about, do I need to look into a skincare regime? It doesn't have to be extensive. It can just be really simple, like a cleanse, a moisturiser, and my holy grail is SPF, because prior to your wedding day, you want to try and keep your skin obviously as protected as possible. And obviously UV sun, if you're in the winter, spring, you need SPF on your face. So just really simple products like that. So again, I'll talk that through with my bride. Think about lifestyle. Do they drink enough water? Are they eating? Because it's a really stressful time, because they're going to be like, I'm so busy, this and this. And on the wedding day, they might go, I've got to break out. And I'm like...
You always get that. I think the most times we've turned around and gone, I can't believe it, I've actually got a spot. And it's just on the wedding day. It's like the heavens have opened. Oh my God, I can't believe I've got a spot.
Exactly. But I'm just like, it's fine. just come. They like haven't had anything for, and I'm like, no, but because you're going through a bit of stress, excitement, and nerves and everything, and you know, it's
your skin's the first one to suffer.
Yeah, it is. So I just say to my brides, that's normal, and if you wake up and you've got a little breakout, don't panic about it, because it's fine.
So you'll talk through, because I've actually got on my list here about skincare leading up to it. Also things like say we touched a little bit on the time of year you get married. So if you are a summer bride, or maybe a September bride, and you've gone through summer and you've been out sunbathing, or you've been out
strap marks,
walking, and things like strap marks, or even
bit of tan,
fake tan, real tan,
fantastic.
So it's a hard one, because if you are quite fair and you would never wear a spray tan or have never worn tan before, I always say to my brides, think about, is that you? Yeah. Are you going to feel comfortable in a tan? And maybe go and try it. Go and have a spray tan, because spray tans these days are great. They don't really transfer onto the clothes, and you can have wedding spray tans. So I do always say, have a spray tan a few days prior to your trial if you're going to have tan. Or if you apply tan yourself, do that and apply that a few days for your trial too. So again, and I talk about if you're going on holiday, you need to be thinking about the clothes that you're wearing as well, keeping your SPF on and trying not to get strap marks, because, okay, we can cover them, but you're still going to see that you've got strap marks depending on how tanned and how deep those tan lines are too as well, because the spray tan isn't going to be able to cover that up completely either.
No. And even for us, for editing, people too, we've had one, they got married abroad, and then had extra photos back in the UK, and obviously straight for the wedding day, she didn't have strap mark. Well, the wedding day she didn't have strap marks. After, she then had strap marks when she came back to the UK and had a party, and she had some more photos with family and friends and couple shots. She had strap marks. Yeah. And for me, it's probably one of the worst things to Photoshop is strap marks. It's really quite hard.
And another one is actually tattoos. Yeah. The amount of brides I'll have, or I've got a tattoo on like the back of my neck, or I've got a tattoo on my back and their dress is obviously exposed and all of that, or they've got it on their wrist, and like, can you just quickly cover that up? That's something I think brides should be aware of. It's not a case of just being able to like quickly cover it up. That's a whole process, a different process in itself, and could be up to an hour just to try and cover, because you've got to make sure it's waterproof, not going to transfer onto the dress. So I think if brides are wanting tattoos to be covered up, they have to consider that, or think about the style of dress, or, just to,
It's funny, isn't it, when people turn around and say about, I've got a tattoo, want to cover up. We've had so many, they've gone, I've got a tattoo on my shoulder or something like that. At any point, if you can see it, can you take it out through Photoshop? And I'll go, well, yeah, of course I can. It's not a problem. It's harder when you've got best of 400 photos and you've got a tattoo in all of them. But again, it's part of you. Yeah. You chose to have that tattoo as well. So it is part of you. So embrace that. Yeah. Either, if you like those tattoos, embrace those tattoos. Or if you, like I say, you think, oh, actually, I've had it when I was 18. Biggest mistake of my life. Like I say, having a dress that you can't see as much.
Yeah, definitely. Because I've had it on the day. Oh, could you just cover this up for me? And I'm like, it's hard, because, and again, it's if you know how many people you have in your bridal party, and I've had it happen quite a few times. Oh, can so and so now have their makeup done? I know they're not in, and I'm like, you're not in the time schedule, and obviously I'm running like to my time schedule. It's all been like, it's running like clockwork. I actually don't have that time to obviously to be able to do somebody else's makeup within that. So it's about making sure like the bride and the bridal party know who wants makeup, what that involves, because I do a trial for the bride, so that's obviously standard. A bride has to have her trial done, because for example, I've had a bride who was like, my skin is a certain type, so we've used a foundation, and obviously as it's on the skin, like, okay, everything seems okay, seems fine. And then actually when she's worn the makeup, a few hours later, her skin type was not actually what she said. So we needed to use a different type of foundation. So what I did was like, actually, look, come back into the studio. We'll apply the foundation that I feel is going to be more suitable and then go back and wear it. So you wouldn't be able to do that on the actual day with the bride. But with the bridesmaid or mother of the bride, unless they ask if they want a trial, I'll do a trial, but it's not mandatory. It's only if, say, they might have a skin concern or they want to see what the makeup's like if they've never worn it. But generally on the day, bums on seats for the bridesmaids, and we just create a look there and then.
Yeah.
Because I'll be aware of the colour scheme the bridesmaids' dresses.
Yeah.
I'll ask the bride to show me a picture of her bridal party just so that I can kind of see like their skin tones, etc.
Yeah.
So I've kind of got a vision in my head of who I'll be having.
So there's a lot of prep beforehand for you guys, because obviously, again, when you're thinking, when couples are planning a wedding, these are little things that no one ever tells you about. No. And this is why we've done this podcast, because it's not until you're thinking, actually, I think the biggest thing for me, I sit here and watching on TikTok, and you've got so many of these makeup artists now are now on TikTok and going, get ready with me in half an hour, and you can see them having 10 layers of obviously creams on first, and they say this has got SPF, this has got hydrochloric acid on, and this is good for this, and this is good for this.
Yeah.
I am just absolutely lost. I can't go into Boots and try and find a foundation that suits me, because I'm like, right, is that colour right? Is that colour right? Is this one right? Is this one right? Yeah. So again, like you say, if you're using a product every day, like you say, that bride uses that, so then you go, does that work for your skin? So then then your brands will then tie in with those and things like that. It's really hard.
It is hard, and I suppose in my kit, I don't have everything's a mix match of different brands. So I use high-end brands because I know that I know how they photograph. Because we've tried and tested it. I've tried and tested it on myself, so I know it wears and how it wears on different skin types. Once I know it's made the cut, it then goes in my kit. And then so I kind of keep to certain products, because otherwise it's a minefield out there and you can end up with too much and actually it doesn't get used, because I do have my staple kits that I go back to and forth, and makeup has a lifeline. It has to be thrown out. So obviously, I do have to be realistic, but high-end makeup is quite costly.
Yes.
So, it's about, my bride will have, and the bridesmaids will have the most high-end products on them, but it will last as well. And if I have a bride that says to me, because what we do at the trial, we do a face chart, and I make notes so I know exactly what we've used on their skin, what serums, what moisturiser, what shade foundation, even to the transition in the eyes of the colours in the eye sockets, to the lip colour, to the lip liner, to the shade of bronzer, to the shade of blusher. So that's all noted. And then what's quite nice, my bride might say, what foundation did you use on me? And I'll go, I've used this. But then what I might say is, actually, rather than using that powder, which is like a £40-50 powder, a good dupe is actually, you could go to Boots and you can get this one. So I'll try and mix and match it just so that it's just not all high end.
And also the bride's got time, then if you go, actually, I use this lip liner, this lipstick, they can go out and buy that, so then they've got more for the day, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, for my brides, I do give them a pot of lipstick anyway, and a brush within their like little kit, so that will last 30 to 40 applications anyway, so it doesn't take up much space if they're putting it in their bridesmaid's bag, etc. And then they can at least just have that and top up. Yeah. But I'd say for a bride, if they were saying, what do I need to have on my wedding day? Definitely your lipstick or your lip gloss, because, that's not going to last. That's going to come off with you eating and drinking and everything. And then I'd always say a pressed powder, because the makeup, once it's been applied, the last thing you want to do is be applying more makeup on top, because it's going to move, you're then going to get cracks in it. So I always say a pressed powder, and when you get towards the night time, you just press it on, and if you've got a little bit shiny, because obviously it's been warm,
hot days.
Hot days, which is going to happen, you just press that on, and you go back to just again being the same base that you were when you started off in the morning. So I would always say press powder, lipstick, you're good to go.
Love it, love it, love it, love
Yeah.
it. So we said obviously about timings, brilliant, and we said a little bit about top tips. Is there any other top tips that you would give a bride? Obviously, trials, looking at real brides. You know, like I say, if you're looking through photographers and you go, oh, I love that. So many people look through our Instagram and our Facebook and our albums as well. And we were at a wedding fair the other week and they've gone, oh my God, this whole wedding's got our own colour scheme on it. You know, the men's in tuxes, you've got the bridesmaids in like a sage green, flowers that are white and just green. And they're just like, oh my God, this is the whole thing. But again, when you're looking at real brides and you can see their makeup, then it's easier for you to say, yeah, I can create that.
Yeah.
And it's realistic.
Yeah.
Any other top tips that you would give?
I'll just say, if you are going to do skincare and you've never done skincare, you need at least 12 to 9 months prior to your wedding date to create a base. So if someone's a little bit conscious about having problematic skin, or they might have like hormonal breakouts, you know, that can be targeted. But what they can't do is think quick fixes. And there are so many quick fixes, like brides get, like they might have Botox or they might have fillers, like, 2-3 months prior to the wedding, which does create a beautiful, flawless face, but it's not actually getting to the targeted areas. So I would always say, have that. Speak to your practitioner who's obviously trained medically for that, about when they should advise to have that prior to the wedding. But anything like non-invasive facials, thinking about your skincare, can start between, like I say, anywhere between like 9 months to like sometimes even 3 months if you have a good skincare regime already, and that's just going to help. Brides, just to drink plenty of water, because hydration is key. Even on the morning, I'm always like, have a drink. Obviously you can have your fizz, but try and have your water too, because that will just help with the hydration of your skin as well. And then again, it's like you say, looking at your real brides, getting the images, not using your Pinterest images, and just thinking about, what makeup would I like? What does that look like? Having your trial, but also researching. It's fine to go and have a few trials with different makeup artists as well. I'm not like, what's the word?
I know exactly what I know.
You can't think of the word.
You're not too precious, are
I'm
you?
not precious.
Exactly.
Exactly.
If you're not the right fit makeup artist for that person, that's fine.
Yeah.
Same with us.
Just go and get the makeup artist for you.
Yeah.
Which is key. Same as us.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not the photographers or the videographers. What you want, that's fine. Cause, you're not our client.
No.
It's the same with you. Like I say, go and speak to and go and see other makeup artists, have trials with those and see if they're the right ones.
Yeah, definitely. It's a key thing. And obviously some will message, if it's 2 years in advance, can I just come for a trial just to see? Absolutely you can. But obviously, like with you guys, same as us, we don't hold your date until a deposit's been taken to secure that date. So that's the only thing, is if you are going and having different trials, you need to be aware that probably the makeup artist you do want might then be booked up. So it's just about considering that and planning that in advance. I mean, my diary only opens every year, so if someone wants to book it 3 years in advance, then I'm kind of not that far thinking. So again, it's factors like that to think about. When does the diary open for your makeup artist, and when can I have a trial and things like that too. But again, the top tips would be, check with your venue. What is your bridal prep time? When can we get into the room? If we can't and we've got to think about travel, do I need to get my second makeup artist? Again, thinking about, like we said earlier, will they complement the style? Will we work together? And it's about just building that rapport with me. Like yes, it's an email, but I'm still there for the bride. So if they need help on the day, like we said about doing corsets up or like finishing touches, that's what I'm there for too. I'm not just there just to do the makeup and off I go. Like, I'll help the bride get into her shoes. And even a top tip I'd always say to my bride, if you've got a big bridal party, I'll move her into a room on her own and just say, let's just have 5-10 minutes on your own, because everyone's running around, you're getting panicky, you're getting anxious, you're getting flustered. Let's just move you in and just have 5 minutes. So like, it's things like that to consider about when you're having a makeup artist who is a bridal makeup artist. we provide a service that's not just do your makeup, off we go. Yeah. So I think, you know, in terms of if you have a makeup artist who does every single occasion, they might not do as many weddings, whereas if you just specialise in being a bridal makeup artist, you know what's happening.
Yeah,
like,
you know the running of the day, don't you? You know how chaotic it can be and
Yeah.
things like that, and how late things can run, especially in the morning and things like that as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on. It's been lovely having you.
Thanks for inviting me.
We'll pop up your website and Instagram into the descriptions and everything as well, so everyone
Go check out her
go
work.
check out her work. But
so,
yeah,
so we've done so many weddings together, so many shoots together.
Yeah.
And it's just like I say, I think we've done how many shoots? We've done 3 or 4 now.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a few. So it's nice that
Yeah.
like I say, we can see all the different looks that you do from one shoot. Like so, we see your bridal makeup as well, but from style shoots, there's things that you want to explore in makeup and different styles and things like that. So from a style shoot that we do, that you can see so many different things that you do, and running around on long wind and topping up lipstick and like you say, you know, holding veils out and dresses and carrying things, lighting.
Yeah, and I think it's nice because we've worked together, like we're saying, different venues and that. I know when, like, do you want me to do a stage shot? You just know how, I know how you work and know what you want and timings, and so it is nice. And also I think it helps with the bride. They think, oh, you all know each other as well, and it just feels like a family on the day, doesn't it?
It just helps out. It makes everyone feel comfortable. It's all relaxed. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Give us a like rating or 5 stars on Spotify. That really helps us. And let us know in the comments or anything. What are the things you kind of want to see next? Who you want to see? Any other kind of suppliers or anything? Whether it's DJs or anything you want to know, let us know. We'll get someone on. We'll have a good chat.
Anything that you think is really going to help you and go, actually, I'm not even sure what I should be doing for this or that. Drop us a message, drop us an email, you know, comment on our videos, and we'll try our best to get everything sorted for you.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
See you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the JOL Wedding Podcast. Share this podcast with anyone you know who is on the journey of planning a wedding. Check out other episodes of this podcast as well as links to our social media platforms at the JOL Wedding Podcast.